Hello, and welcome back to Old Fashioned Graces. I'm going to talk about 10 ways to save money as a homemaker. Join us! If you were going to be a stay-at-home homemaker, one of the biggest roles that you have, besides nurturing your family, is saving the money. If you are not bringing in income, it is your job to safeguard and stretch your husband's income as far as it will go. I'm going to show you how to use these 10 tips to stretch a low income. Join me! The first tip I have to save money as a homemaker is to lower your expectations. This might seem depressing or odd as a first tip, but it is essential. If we look around and we see friends or people online or family who have a lot more money, or at least seem to have a lot more money than we do, it can be hard seeing them have stuff that you know you can't have. And it can be tempting to want to figure out a way to do that, even if it jeopardizes your family's long-term financial safety. I love several of the homemakers here on YouTube, and I find great encouragement and joy in watching their videos. But even I can find it hard sometimes watching them talk about their closets, and in particular their dresses. I love dresses so much. I love a good feminine dress. I love dresses made out of natural fabrics. One of my dream dresses is a Sans de Fleur dress. They are so beautiful. And they're also very pricey. We're talking multiple hundreds of dollars. I can't afford that. And yet I see these homemakers who are supposedly working with a budget who have multiple Sans de Fleur dresses and Not Perfect linen dresses and many other beautiful dresses, all that have an initial price of at least $75, many of them over $150 a dress. And they talk about the importance of having a minimal closet. Well, they have 12 of these dresses in their closet. For me, if I'm not careful, I can let myself get caught up in the comparison trap when I look at that. Now, for many of them, they've been gifted them by the company. For many, they've been gifted them by the company in exchange for doing a product placement, which is great. I am thrilled that their channels are doing well enough that they can have those sponsors. But it's also not realistic for me. I have to remind myself that I need to be content and not compare, and be thankful for the blessings that I have. Now, the rest of these tips are not necessarily in a particular order. The next tip is to not eat out. This is not just not eat out, don't go out to the movies, don't go to plays as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying you can never eat out, or you can never go see a play or a musical or a movie, but that should be very much the exception instead of the rule. If you have a close friend in a production and you want to go support them, that's great. But this shouldn't be happening every week. Your children shouldn't be going to the movies every week if you want to stretch this one income. My husband makes a good income, but when you divide it by how many people he's supporting, that's less than $10,000 per person. Which means I have to be really judicious in how I use the income, because it could be quite easy for me to blow through it and to have nothing to show at the end. One great way to save money is cloth diapering. Now, obviously this doesn't apply to everyone. If you don't have babies anymore, this won't apply to you, and not everyone can pull it off. But I think it is a wonderful option. Last week's video I talked about how it saved our family thousands over the past few years. It has just been such a blessing to our family. It's wonderful to know that we are not putting chemicals on our baby's most sensitive parts. It's wonderful knowing we're not filling up landfills with disposable diapers. If you have children in this age range, if you have babies, if you have young toddlers, I highly, highly recommend to try it. It can save you a ton of money. You can resell them when you're done if they're still in good shape, or you can get them really cheap used and not have to worry about it. Our third tip is to avoid disposable products. So whenever possible, buy reusable instead of disposable. Not only will it help save our planet from too much garbage in our landfills, but it will also save you money. Instead of buying paper napkins, which you have to buy many times, and if you have small children and they make a mess, you can go through half a pack just cleaning up that one mess. Use rags and fabric napkins. Remember the first thing, we're not trying to compete, we're not trying to compare, we're being content. So it's okay, a slightly ratty washcloth, buy them at the table for everyday meals. Maybe you'll want something fancier when company comes over, but it really doesn't matter what cleans up the 2-year-old's milk mess, as long as it's cleaned up. But it's not just napkins and paper plates and paper cups and silverware. It's also things like water bottles. Now, we are not a big water bottle family. I have no fancy water bottles. In fact, I have no water bottle that is just my own. I don't get the whole Stanley, Yeti, whatever the latest brand of water bottle is. I don't get that. But at the same time, for your health and for finances, for the environment, if you can avoid buying the plastic water bottles whenever possible. Now, I'm not talking about the random ones you have in your vehicle in case you get stuck somewhere, or if you're in a pinch and you have to get one. I'm talking about just as an everyday practice. Try to keep disposable products to a minimum. It will save you money. Now, this is at the cost of time, so there are times when you're out and about and you will have to use the disposables. But whenever possible, take the time, rewash, reuse, and save your money. The fourth thing, don't go to the hairdresser or the nail salon or to the makeup artist or go get waxed. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on the woman, but you can save a ton of money by doing all these self-care things at home yourself. So I cut all my family's hair. I don't cut my own hair, but my mother actually knows how to do the very, very basic haircut that I have and love. And so I go to her. Maybe you're terrible at it and you don't feel confident doing this yourself. But maybe you have a friend that's really good at cutting hair. Maybe she's a hairdresser, or maybe she's just skilled at it, and you could trade babysitting or baked goods or whatever it is to her, so that way you're not spending money. I am literally saving over $1,000 a year by not going to the hair salon and getting my hair colored and cut and styled regularly. The fifth thing you can do to save money as a homemaker is to thrift/buy used. But I find that it is more and more difficult for me to do that now that I am usually toting around 5 children, and it just makes going to the thrift shop a bit of a circus. A lot of women find great luck thrifting for clothes on places like Poshmark or ThredUp or Etsy. I find that I have a body that's really hard to fit, so I have to try things on in person usually in order to ensure that it will fit. But for you, that might be great. Maybe you're someone whose body fits in the measurements and you can just buy, you know your size. Great, try that. But it's more than just clothes. It's also shoes. Although, make sure you're looking at how worn they are. Because if you spend $25 on a pair of cute leather boots that only last you a month, then you're not really money ahead, as opposed to waiting and investing and spending good money on a good pair of boots. But it's also furniture. I cannot believe the prices of a new couch. It's just crazy to me. Sometimes thousands of dollars. And at least at my house, I have littles. That means that couch is inevitably going to get peed and pooped on and puked on. And I don't want that to happen with something I spent that much money on. Furniture is so easy to buy used. Assuming you have someone that can move it for you, it's really a no-brainer. A lot of times we get our furniture for free. We are willing to take the hand-me-down furniture. We have some wonderful family heirlooms and other things that are not family heirlooms but have been handed down in the family from siblings or parents or whatever because we were willing to take it. Now, it might not be the perfect match to our set, but let's be honest, we have no sets. But it works, and a lot of times it's a lot higher quality than the new stuff because we're talking solid wood furniture as opposed to pressboard. Resale shops, yard sales are great places to find beautiful, sturdy furniture for a really great price. Mattresses can be a bit tricky to buy used. You have to be really careful. We have actually been blessed to be given several mattresses out of vacation homes when people redid them. And so these are mattresses that might be 30, 40, the one's even 50 years old, but it's been slept on like 3 times. It's essentially new, no weird smells, no nothing. It's just an old mattress that hasn't been slept on, and it's in fantastic shape. In fact, that's where we got our master bed from. Our mattress came from the spare room in somebody's second or third house. So it was a 30-year-old mattress that had been slept on 3 times. It was in fantastic shape, and it is so comfortable, and it was free. These things add up. But again, lower your expectations. Be willing to have things that are not perfect. The number 6 way to save money as a homemaker is to buy ingredients, not products. This applies to many areas. Instead of buying bread from the store, buy the ingredients and make it yourself. Instead of buying granola bars, buy the ingredients and make them yourself. You can save so much money by not buying prepared food. And it is so much better for your health. Even if you put just as much sugar and use only white flour in your ingredients, you're not going to include all the preservatives that the store-bought stuff has. You'll avoid having all those little additives and preservatives in them, which makes them infinitely more healthy for you and your family, while saving money. It's a win-win. This applies to basic cleaning products and other areas of your life as well. Number 7 is DIY. Now, I do have a word of caution here. Sometimes DIY does not actually save you money. It's important to know yourself, know what your skills are, and what you want to get better at. My mother taught me to sew when I was young, around 6 or 7. But it wasn't until I had our first child and I looked at the prices of nursing dresses that I decided to really pursue it. And since then, I've been learning to sew nursing dresses and shirts and various pieces of clothing for myself because I cannot afford to buy the ones that I want. Maybe it's not sewing for you. Maybe it's doing other things. But just be realistic about what you know how to do. There are some things that, unless you're particularly skilled at it, you do want to hire professionals for. That would be pest remediation, heating and cooling, unless you're trained or skilled in it, electrical, and automotive stuff such as brakes if you're not good with your hands. Otherwise, go ahead, learn, do it yourself. You can replace the filter on your furnace. You can change the oil in your car. You can change out the battery yourself. You can paint your own house. There's a lot of things you can do yourself to save money. Just pay attention and also think. I worked as a pressure washing foreman for several years over the summers, and many people wash their house themselves. But unless they had the proper equipment and chemicals in order to do it effectively, they risked either damaging their house or just not making it look very nice. So take your time to think about what your goals are and if you can realistically do it yourself. My first several nursing dresses and just pieces of clothing did not turn out well, but I am slowly over time getting better. And some of them still don't turn out great, but that's okay. I have a linen dress that I have wore for this summer. It will be 2 years now, off and on when it fits, between pregnancies and all that. It's nursing friendly. It's a shirt dress style, so it's classic. I love it. And it cost me $50 for the fabric. A similar style of dress that I would still have to alter to get it to fit me right because of my unique body would cost at least $150. I saved $100. I gained experience. I got to choose the buttons and the trims and do everything exactly how I wanted it, and I'm getting a lot of use out of it. So that was worthwhile for me. Maybe it's something else for you. If you want to get into making your own soaps, I have a recipe on my blog that I'll link below. You can make your own wool diaper cover pants. I have a tutorial for that. I have a really simple sewing tutorial on how to make your own half circle skirt with a free pattern. These are all great ways to dip your toe into making things yourself. Experiment, try some things, and learn a new skill. It's a lot of fun. The 8th thing that you can do to save money as a homemaker is probably the hardest one for me. We don't currently do it, but we did do it for almost 2 years. And that is have only one vehicle. Now, while this wasn't technically accurate, most of the time we were doing this, we had my husband's truck and he had a motorcycle. So about half the time, not quite, there would be a vehicle for me to have at the house that I could drive. Though there was a while there that the bike was either broken down or it wasn't motorcycle weather, so my husband had the only vehicle at work. And I hated it. But it saved us thousands of dollars during that time. This is the time that we were really, really scrimping by. My husband was making $18 an hour, so that turns out to $36,000 a year, and we were saving up for a down payment. That is really hard to do. We had one child, and I was pregnant for a second, but we managed to do it. I highly recommend it if you are in a super tight financial spot, or you live in town so you can walk most places. It all depends on your husband's job and logistics and how many children you have and all that. But if you really need to save money, I highly recommend it. But I am so glad we are not in that position anymore because I hated not having a vehicle of my own. Not so much of my own. I hated not having a vehicle that I could drive if I felt like going to the grocery store. Alright, somewhere along the way, I messed up because this is number 10, but that is eat simply. So this is not just the buy ingredients, not products, but this also applies to what you're eating. Now, for each family, this is different. For us, my husband does not particularly care for Asian food. He likes just the pretty typical American Midwest type food. We do a lot of just like roasts or pork chops or steaks and mashed potatoes and vegetable salads. But if you find what your family likes and what's easy for you to cook and consistently turns out well for you, stay within that range 80% of the time, and you can save so much money on your groceries. Because the reality is, if you're buying all these different groceries for all these different recipes, then some will end up going to waste or just sit in your pantry or your cupboard for a really long time. And even if they're not bad, they're just not as good. Instead, stick with the basics and go from there. For us, that's things like carrots, peas, green beans, onions, garlic, lots and lots of potatoes, and meat, along with our basics for baking and breakfast, like oatmeal and flours and all that. Though we stock a lot of food at once because we have large appetites and we feed quite a few people, the variety is pretty slim because I know what we eat, I know what we like, and I keep the ingredients to make those things. What are your favorite ways to save money as a homemaker? Comment below. Tell me what I've missed. I'm sure I've missed some wonderful tips, and I would love to hear what has helped you. We have been living on one income since the month before my oldest was born, so that is 5.5 years ago now. It'll be 6 years this summer. And there have definitely been some tight times. And there have been times where we have been blessed financially. Hopefully this year we will be able to make another jump and go from one stable income to no stable income and make money off our farm. We're waiting to see if we can make that happen, but I hope it will, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride as I practice these tips to even greater degree to save money, and we can make our dreams come true. Together, as a tribe of homemakers, as illegal ladies, we can achieve our dreams of staying home while staying within the budget. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.